What's up, guys? It's Javier Paredes here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to talk to you guys about, should you buy a home in 2024? You know, I was sitting on a plane with a girl the other day, and she was sitting next to me, and I remember her and her husband were sitting next to me, and she was talking about, asking me what I did for a living, and I told her I was in real estate, and she asked me, she's like, wow, I bet, you're really busy. I said, yeah, I'm really busy. And she's like, well, man, I wish I would have bought more properties when I bought my homestead, the home that she's living in. And I said, oh, why? Why is that? And she's like, well, because, houses in my neighborhood at the time were selling for, $300,000. And right now my home's worth $550,000. So I said, well, I want you to think about something. I said, if you take today's price point in your neighborhood and you buy it, average appreciation 5% year over year over year over year. What do you think that $500,000? You're getting 5% on 500,000. That's going to go, and that's just average appreciation. What happened in the past couple of years, guys? Think about this. In the past couple of years, we had astronomically, no one ever seen the amount appreciation over the last few years. Some markets are seeing 16% appreciation. Some markets are at 10%. Some markets are at 18%. Some markets are even at 20%, highs at 20%. The market was crazy. It was going up vertically. Now, obviously, we all know that's not the market that we're in today, but I want you to think about this. If you look at, should you buy a home in 2024 based on the average appreciation year over year? Because remember, yeah, real estate will go down, but it's going to continue to keep going up, right? It might do this, but it's going to continue to keep going up, right? And I want you to think about, if you take that concept of that girl, me sitting on the plane with her, next to her, thinking about having that mindset of being like, oh, well, I don't know if I should buy because where home values are. This is my answer to that question. If you're going to buy and hold it for pretty much ever, buy. Because why? You're going to be able to capture so many different standpoints on that one deal. I don't know if you guys remember one of my previous episodes, I talked about it's not just about the deal. It's about the leverage point, right? Think about every time you purchase a property, it's like a money farm. You can cash out and refinance when bank rates are a little bit more favorable. You'll have that leverage standpoint there. You get the tax depreciation. You're going to get future appreciation. You're going to be able to use that property as collateral. You can cross collateralize if you want to borrow money from a private money lender. There's so many different aspects. There's 7 different things why you can purchase a piece of real estate. So if you think about this for a second, she bought that home for 5% or 500,000 and she gets 5% on 500,000 on average, who knows? It could be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less, but on average, and she holds that property, it's going to be worth more and more and more and more as the years go by. And not only that, she's going to get all the other benefits of owning real estate. So the real estate market is going to continue to go up. And this is just not me saying this. This is something that will continue to happen, and everything's going to get more expensive. And it's just not real estate, guys. Cars, clothes, food. Right now, guys, everything's on discount. And what do I mean by that? That $500,000 home will be worth $750,000 to $1 million in the future. Our market here in Florida, in all markets, as the population grows and home demand keeps rising, which it is, guess what? That home price is going to keep driving up and driving up and driving up. And what's happening right now, people don't want to sell their homes because they don't want to get out those low interest rates. They don't want to trade those low interest rates for an 8% interest rate. So only people who need to sell right now are the ones selling. So are you going to miss the boat and not buy because you think that home prices are too high? Buy right is what I say. Buy right. Make sure you buy right. If you buy right, then you don't have to worry about what the market's doing. I'm always buying. I don't care what market we're in. I'll buy in a downturn, a sideways, up, down. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to continue to invest in real estate. Now, if you're thinking about this as your first deal, still buy it. I say continue to buy and hold forever. Let that property be a money farm. And if bank rates do get in our favor, which hopefully they do, you can pull that cash out. And that's what I did. When I first started scaling my portfolio, I would take my properties, I'd do renovations if I had to, I would buy right, do renovations if I had to, and I would do a cash out refinance. So example, I bought my first property at $275,000. 2.5, 3 years later, it was worth $450,000 roughly. Did a cash out refinance, right? Guess what? Today, that property is ready for another cash out refinance. So I'm doing all these cash out refinances, and we'll talk about it later, but cash out refinance, you don't have to pay taxes on this money. If you sell the property, you have to pay capital gains. But if you take the property and you do a cash out refinance and you start looking at it as a money farm, this is a money farm. It's going to continue to grow. So every time I acquire a new piece of real estate, I don't only look at it like, okay, it's a money farm. I don't look at it just like, oh, cash flow. I don't look at it just like a future appreciation or depreciation. I look at it in so many different ways that most people won't. And you're not looking at it like in the way of like, oh, this is going to bring so much wealth and stuff like that. Now, you're not going to get super fancy rich off of 1 or 2 homes. But if you're looking at your first property and you're looking at the market and you're worried about like, oh, is the prices too high? Are the pricing going to come down? One, there's always deals out there to be bought. As long as you buy right and you hold, it's a good time to buy. If you feel like, hey, I'm going to flip, you better get it at a super steep discount. But that is a conversation for another day. So just remember, buying a piece of real estate has so many different advantages and so many different leverage points. I would suggest in 2024, 2025, 2026, and so on, you continue to buy, you continue to hold, and you do refinances as the bank rates get more in your favor, and it makes more sense for you to start doing these. And you can cross collateralize if you need to borrow money from like a private money lender. That's another conversation for another day. But you'll know when you should do a cash out refinance because you can get free quotes from lenders. You can, it doesn't cost you any money to run numbers. Just run numbers, see if it makes sense. And you can leverage that. Or you can get a second lien position on your property from a lender and you don't even have to do a refinance. You know, I know guys that will do high risk, right? If you're a high risk person, you want to do a second lien position on the property and be able to, have that second lien position, be able to pull that money out for you, that dead equity, because that's what we call it. It's dead equity. It's like money sitting in a bank account. You have $1 million in a Chase bank account. It ain't doing nothing. It looks pretty. So you have to look at real estate that same way. You know, if you're younger, you might have a higher risk tolerance, right? If you're, older and you're on a journey of like, hey, I want to just hit the cruise button, you might not have that high risk of a tolerance. You might have that high risk tolerance. And so that's okay. You could do either or. But remember this, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, which goes by quick, time goes by so quick, we lose track of it. And before you know it, that 5% has compounded year over year. And remember, we're not just focused on that 5%. We're focused on all these other leverage points. Cost segregation. It's actually funny. I emailed my cost segregation guy yesterday for one of my properties, one of my short-term rentals. And he's going to run numbers on a cost segregation to see if it makes sense for me. So remember, I talked about in one of my previous episodes, it's all about relationship, the people I meet. I met a cost segregation guy. Guess what? I'm going to be able to expand my knowledge on cost segregations now, which is a very popular topic in today's market. So we don't pay taxes. We pay taxes on every single thing that we buy. Shirt, your food, your car, everything. Piece of real estate. So my advice to you is buy right, buy in 2024, buy in 2025. There's deals to be had. Just make sure you're putting the work in and you're looking for them, or getting with a wholesaler or maybe a real estate agent, somebody who can scout deals for you and curate deals for you and bring them to the table. That way you can execute on them. That is super important. So if you want to get your deals today, buy it. If you're going to hold it, buy it. If you're going to do a flip, then you need super steep discounts right now in today's market. And we don't know what the market's going to do. So that's a whole nother conversation. So I would recommend definitely continue to buy or get into your first deal today, not tomorrow. If you overthink it, you don't today. Today's the day you buy your first deal, and it's going to be something that is going to be so rewarding for you and your family, and you can keep in the family, you can pass on to family members. So my advice for you guys is buy right, think of it as a money farm, and there's so many different leverage points that you're going to be able to have off this one piece of real estate. So guys, I want you to look in the description below. Appreciate you guys tuning in. It's been an awesome time hanging out with you guys. Look in the description below and for anything that I spoke about today. Catch you guys on the next one.